You got a minute and a half. Ralph, can you turn on the switch to the right of the organ? See if it's on. It's on? Chris, can you look upstairs because it's not coming through? Technical difficulties. It's good, thank you. Oh, thank you, Ralph. Can you, thank you. Good morning. Good morning. Welcome to the Unitarian Church of Barnstable Unitarian Universalist, where love guides us. I am the Reverend Dr. Kristen Harper, and my pronouns are she and hers. We acknowledge that our church and lands rest upon the unceded ancestral territory of the Wampanoag peoples, who have lived and been sustained in this area for over 12,000 years. I extend a special welcome to our guests and encourage you to join us after the service for fellowship and coffee. If you'd like to know more about Unitarian Universalism or this congregation and how to get involved, please fill out the guest card that you'll find in the pew rack in front of you and hand it to an usher or to me. We are a welcoming congregation of and for all ages, working for justice and compassion in our world, encouraging spiritual growth and thoughtful dialogue. Here, we celebrate the participation and presence of people who are gay, lesbian, bisexual, transgender, and gender nonconforming. Here, Black and brown and immigrant lives matter. Here, we lift up the consumption crisis causing our climate crisis and promote the values of a sustainable planet. In the spirit of welcome, please rise in body or spirit and greet one another. I call your attention to the announcements in the order of service. Today, towards the end of our service, at the very end of our service, we will be having our annual fire drill. There are two main exits. One is straight through out the sanctuary doors in the back, and one is through this exit door here. Those of you who are on the right side can also exit through the library and travel that way. Once you get out of the exit, there is a path that runs along the church that I invite you to keep going through until you reach the parking lot. If you're going out this way, if you need help, you can exit the door that you entered and there'll be people to help. But most people, I invite you to exit the sanctuary doors, take a left, and gather on this field out here. We ask that you don't leave. We need to make sure everyone is safe and okay. It will not take long. And afterwards, we'll have coffee hour. So there's some good treats, too. I saw them. So, and I didn't eat any of them, so you'll have some. So I invite you to come back for coffee hour afterwards. We do this once a year just so that people get familiar with how to exit the building. It is not a fear, it's just a precaution. Thank you. I'm going to invite Susan Starkey forward to light our chalice. Is that okay? Thank you. Thank you. The Reverend Christine Robinson wrote, "We gather together as people of faith, with joys and sorrows, gifts and needs. We light this chalice, a beacon of hope, a symbol of the celebration of life that we share together." I invite you to rise in body or spirit and join me in the affirmation in unison printed in your order of service. Love is the doctrine of this church. The quest of truth is the sacrament, and service is its prayer. To dwell together in peace, to seek knowledge and freedom, to serve humanity and fellowship, to the end that all souls shall grow into harmony with the divine. Thus do we covenant together. Please remain standing and join me in our opening hymn, which is in your gray hymnal, number 188, Come, Come, Whoever You Are. We'll sing it twice through. are you carrying today? What anxiety, what concerns, what joy, what gratitude do you bring into this circle of community? I invite anyone who feels called to come down the center aisle in 2 lines, pick up a pebble, transfer that energy that you are carrying into that pebble, and place it into our community waters of hope and compassion. Dave Curry, can you help me? I'd like to add a pebble of joy for those of you who are returning after a long year and spending the summer with us. So one pebble for all of you, welcoming you. And then I'd like to add a pebble of concern for the people of Venezuela, for the 1,400 who have so far died, those who are clinging to life, those that survived, and those who are far away from home, but their hearts are with their families and community. And a final pebble for all those joys and sorrows too scary or too private to lift up at this time. Thank you, Dave. Please join me in a moment of prayer or reflection. God of our understanding, God that we do not understand, we gather all the distracting thoughts and feelings in our minds and bodies and set them aside for this moment. As we inhale the oxygen we all need to survive, the same breath as our neighbors, the same breath of our world community, we imagine all the good things coming into our lives. And then we exhale that which keeps us separate and alone, that which burdens us and keeps us from seeing the joy and wonder around us, that which causes us anger and resentment. In our guts, we know that love and compassion resides within each of us, and it can soothe our bruised and battered souls, can transform hatred into friendship, distance into intimacy. May we be reminded of our responsibility for keeping the web alive, for honoring each strand, regardless of how different, how strange it may seem to us. May we find the strength, the courage, the opportunity, and the power to exhale. Amen. Please join me in the responsive reading, Embracing the Wonder That Is Life, which you'll find in your order of service. I invite you to respond with the bolded text. There is so much I carry in my heart and mind, the lives for which I feel responsible, the pain I cannot heal, the injustice I cannot see a path to make right.
I find myself counting the disease, dwelling in fear, hoping as if I believe in miracles, not my own pain.
I get stuck out of my body, moving as if I have somewhere important to go, some task important to do.
These are the days that are given to us, days of unbelievable, unfathomable accidents, days of grieving all around, destruction within and without.
I do not wish to miss a moment of this one precious life. I don't wish to squander the joy of family, the laughter of friends, and yet I am mired in this world and its tumultuous challenges.
How do I hold both? The right to live my life fully, to find happiness and peace on this lifeblood.
And the responsibility to care for the web, the people, the plants and animals, the earth.
One does not preclude the other.
Perhaps if I cease all that distracts me, all the thoughts racing through my mind,
Perhaps I can just be in this moment, right here, right now, and breathe.
I will find the middle path, the path of balance that will allow me to tackle the challenges as they arrive, to face the onslaught as it comes, and embrace the full wonder that is life. Please rise in body or spirit and join me in our centering hymn number 123, Spirit of Life. Please be seated. What we truly value shows in our actions and in our deeds. We may say we value justice, transformation, generosity, pluralism, equity, and our interdependence, but how do we show it? What I know most of us value is this community and its push to live a life aligned with our faith. What I know most of us value is the forgiveness and compassion of this church that we receive when we cannot always be at our best. For this community that holds us to high standards and holds us when we fail and fall, we will now receive the morning offering. Please rise, embody our spirit, and join me in the dedication and offering doxology printed in your order of service. Before the share reading, I need to make a statement that's a confession. The confession is, for years, I have made fun of Catholics up and down and up and down. And you know what? We do the same thing. I'm always asking you to raise and lower, raise and sit. I mean, I'm like, why am I making fun of another faith tradition? So I apologize, because it's serious that we don't look at ourselves. We look outside ourselves. So the reading is Doing All Right by Alex Klingenberg. I'm pretty sure we're doing all right, even though we're always late and the food comes repaired and you watch more TV than I ever imagined. I'm pretty sure I'm enough, even though I've worn the same sweatshirt for 6 days straight and can't seem to clean the bedroom or unpack the boxes of books. I'm pretty sure you'll be okay, even though you don't act like other kids and transitions make you cranky and you spend most of your life daydreaming. I'm pretty sure there's no right way to do this family life endeavor, except to begin each day and to laugh and try to be yourself in every way you know how. Even if it means I hide away in the bathroom writing poetry on my phone while the puppy sleeps and you eat hummus straight from the container with a spoon. Pretty sure we're doing all right. Nasruddin, a Sufi philosopher known for his wisdom and wit, was sitting in a tea shop when a friend came excitedly to speak with him. "I am about to get married, Mullah," his friend stated, "and I am very excited." "Mullah, have you ever thought of marriage yourself?" Nasruddin replied, "I did think of getting married. In my youth, in fact, I very much wanted to do so. I wanted to find the perfect spouse. I traveled looking for her, first to Damascus, then to Isfahan, and then finally to Cairo. There I found her. She was spiritually deep, graceful and beautiful in every respect, at home in the world and at home in the realms beyond it. I felt I had found the perfect partner." His friend questioned further, "Then did you not marry her, Mullah?" "Alas," said Nasruddin as he shook his head, "she was unfortunately looking for the perfect husband." Do you ever find yourself determining how good you feel about your days by how much you get done? Have you ever measured your artistic ability by the wrong notes you sung or played, whether or not you captured your vision exactly, or how realistic your art looks? Do you hear the criticism of others louder than their praises? Do you judge yourself on how clean your house is or how well your children are doing or grandchildren? Do you spend a lot of time focusing on the mistakes you made with your spouse? Do you set standards you will never be able to meet? Do you struggle to take time for yourself? And when you do, you find yourself obsessing about what you should be doing. In her book, Amazing Grace, Christian poet and author Kathleen Norris writes, "Perfectionism is one of the scariest words I know. It is marked characteristic of contemporary American culture, a serious psychological affliction that makes people too timid to take necessary risks and causes them to suffer when, although they've done the best they can, their efforts fall short of some imaginary and usually unattainable standard. Martha Stewart might be seen as the high priestess of perfection. One dare not let that mark slip, even in one's home, where all is perfect, right down to the last hand-stenciled napkin ring." The goal of perfection can be seen in almost every religious tradition. Many Christians are taught to be perfect just as God is perfect and are given the living example of Jesus to emulate. Perfection in Buddhism is couched differently. Right understanding, right thought, right speech, right action, right livelihood, right effort, right mindfulness, and right concentration, practiced perfectly together, will lead to nirvana. In Islam, perfection is not the end focus. Rather, it is centered around Muslims' responsibility to obtain perfection in the worship of Allah. Perfection is not sought after for salvation. Rather, it's a means to please Allah. I believe our culture's drive for perfection is based on two different religious ideals: Christian perfectionism and the Protestant work ethic. Christian perfectionism taught that union with God was possible by leading a sinless life through conversion and willpower. If we follow the 10 Commandments, reject materialism, practice charity and chastity, we will be saved. we will attain union with God. The Protestant work ethic taught the grace of predestination was demonstrated through hard work, diligence, discipline, frugality, perfection. Now, we Unitarian Universalists aren't exempt from the striving for perfection. In the 19th century, when most mainline denominations imagined human sinfulness as a contrast to God's perfection, Unitarians and Universalists proclaimed that the seed of divine perfection dwells within each of us, each person, and that we are called to cultivate that seed in the course of our lives. The father of Unitarianism, William Ellery Channing, said, "Our supreme good is the perfection of our being. Nothing can make us truly happy but our perfection." The Reverend Nancy MacDonald Ladd, Director of Communication and Public Ministry at the Unitarian Universalist Association, wrote in a 2019 UU World magazine article that liberal religious people not only tend to believe that we are called to perfection, but we also believe that we already are basically perfect. Already basically converted, and already basically blessed. At times, we like to imagine these things without allowing for further conversation that might impinge on our freedom to be exactly as we already are and do exactly what we've been doing all along. Because we have been taught that we were meant to be perfect, our lack of perfection brings deep fragility to both our spiritual lives and our partnerships for justice. But does perfectionism truly make us happy? In psychologist Tonar Chansky's book, Freeing Yourself from Anxiety, Chansky shares the story of Tessa, an attorney, who she describes as having perfectionism about her job that is leading her need for antacids and sleeping pills. Every aspect of her work, every single email or phone call is stringently handled as her court argument preparation. The level of attention is simply unattainable and beyond even what the partners in her office encourage as they see dark circles under the eyes of a promising lawyer in their practice. Many perfectionists don't want to be perfectionists, but they fear letting it go because not being a perfectionist means you're mediocre, sloppy, or a failure. Chomsky goes on to say, on the surface, perfect sounds like the prize, but scratch a smudge below that elusive shine, and what you quickly see is the trap and the impossibility of perfection. Clutching to a goal of perfection is a sure way to keep yourself in a constant state of irritability and frustration, which in most cases doesn't stop with you. So the no-cost bonus of perfectionism is that you share its misery with the people around you. Perfectionism fails to acknowledge the beauty and success we experience and focuses on the negative. The Reverend Sarah Gibb Millspaugh, a Unitarian Universalist minister and member of the Pacific Western Region's Congregational Life staff, shared what it was like growing up in what she calls a fault-finding family. It was one way my father's upper-class WASP culture and my mother's working-class Jewish culture came together, analyzing what was wrong. We go to a phenomenal movie, but spend the car ride home talking about the not-so-good acting of one character. When I started preaching sermons, she wrote, I always could rely on an assessment of my mistakes from my parents. That was really good, but your children's story was way too long, and your tone didn't match your message in this part or that part. Oh, and I did the same thing when it was my turn in the pew, taking the good for granted, finding the faults. In that way, we were perfect Unitarian Universalists. Noticing, calling forth, calling out, that was not all that was not right. Taking careful mental notes on what was not perfect in every work of art. Perfectionism is also a key component in white supremacy culture. Kenneth Jones and Tema Okun lay out several characteristics of white supremacy culture in their workbook for social change groups called Dismantling Racism. They describe the perfectionism we encounter in our culture as, quote, little appreciation expressed among people for their work that others are doing. Appreciation that is expressed is usually directed to those who get most of the credit anyway. What is more common, they write, is to point out either how the person or work is inadequate or talk to others about the inadequacy of a person or their work without ever talking directly to them. Mistakes are seen to reflect badly on the person. Few resources are put into learning from mistakes, and there's a tendency to identify what is wrong with little ability to identify, name, or appreciate what is right. I cringe to see myself in both Reverend Millspaw and Jones and Akun's descriptions. I remember for years standing in line after service, unable to hear anything positive about my role in worship, and obsessing about any negative or even neutral comment. I'd spend days picking apart my interactions, brooding over what I should have said, or how I could have conveyed my point better. It never occurred to me to be proud of what I have accomplished, as I could always compare myself to others and find my work wanting. Kathleen Norris argues that we have understood the scriptures on perfection wrong. The good news about the word perfect as used in the New Testament is that it's not a scary word as so much as a scary translation. The word that has been translated as perfect does not mean to set forth an impossible goal or the perfectionism that would have me strive for it at any cost. It is taken from the Greek word meaning complete, entire, full grown. To those who originally heard it, the word would convey mature, rather than what we might today mean by perfect. In religious terms, maturity can be seen as the lifelong process of moral and spiritual development. As we engage our faith through study, practice, experience, reflection, our understanding of how to live and react in the world around us grows. As Unitarian Universalists, we might see spiritual maturity as the gradual process of developing healthy and life-giving ways of relating to ourselves, to others, to our environment, and to our understanding of the holy. Seeking maturity allows us to acknowledge our imperfection and learn to not only embrace them, but to incorporate what they teach us into our understanding of ourselves and our world. Reverend Millspaw suggests we cultivate what Brené Brown calls wholeheartedness. She quotes Brown from her book, Gifts of Imperfection. where she writes, "Wholehearted living is about engaging with our lives from a place of worthiness. It means cultivating courage, compassion, and connection to wake up in the morning and think, no matter what gets done and how much is left undone, I am enough. I am enough." And it's going to bed thinking, yes, I am imperfect and vulnerable and sometimes afraid. But that fact doesn't change the truth that I am also brave and worthy of love and belonging. As a faith tradition whose first principle is about promoting people's worth as they are in this moment, we are called to honor the imperfections as part of the whole person and not just focus on the ways we can be better. Institutionally, Kenneth Jones and Tima Okun say part of the antidote to the perfectionism of white supremacy culture is to, quote, develop a culture of appreciation, where organizations take time to make sure people's work and efforts are appreciated. They suggest we develop a learning organization where it's expected that everyone will make mistakes, and those mistakes offer opportunity for learning. Create an environment, they say, where people can recognize that mistakes sometimes lead to positive results. Separate the person from the mistake. Now let me close with a prayer from Brené Brown. May we find the courage to let go of who we think we're supposed to be so we can fully embrace our authentic selves, the imperfect, the creative, the vulnerable, the powerful, the broken, the beautiful. May we show ourselves and others the compassion that comes from knowing that we are all made of strength and struggle. May we create a just and equitable world where privilege isn't a prerequisite for self-expression, and authentically where everyone feels invited and safe to express their power and their vulnerability. And last, may we experience the strength of connection, the love of belonging, and the grace of pure joy. I'm looking in the back. Are we going to start? Okay. So those in the first 4 rows, I invite you to leave through here or through here. Everyone else, please. Thank you.